Well, if it isn't Andrew Easton.
Well, thanks for having me, Gord. I really appreciate coming back. It's fantastic to be here.
Well, it's always a pleasure seeing that smiling face up this neck of the woods. And the nicest thing, you never come empty-handed.
No, not at all. I brought our 22 MB Firewood processor. This is the smallest Firewood processor we built. It's a bar saw processor and it's manual controls. These things work fantastic. They really do.
Yeah. Well, she's a beauty. I was thinking it was a little big for a wood splitter.
Yeah, it is. So I guess that explains why you guys have been hauling wood out of the bush for the last couple of months too, eh?
Yeah, and there's 1 or 2 subscribers actually figured it out, but a lot of folks didn't know why they were being piled here.
Well, there you have it. This is the reason for it.
Well, we got at least 8 cord there, Andrew. So we'll see how this unit handles it. What do you say we do a walk around? I'd love to know how it works and a little bit more about the equipment.
Oh yeah, sure, Gord.
Let's do it. So tell me a little bit about it there, Andrew.
Well, this is the business end of the machine, Gord. This is where everything comes off the back. You can see the wood comes in off of the live deck into the in-feed trough, and then the wood rolls down into the splitter and then up the conveyor. Right. And in either your trailer or a pile. So it's very versatile in that respect with this machine having the conveyor attached right onto the back of it. We do offer them both ways, with this conveyor and with the conveyor you had with your 2228.
Okay, yeah, and I noticed it's hydraulic too.
It is, yeah. So you can raise this up and down, which is really nice. We still have a couple more adjustments left there if you had to raise that higher, if you had a higher trailer. And then loading your smaller dump trailers like you guys have, you're able to lower it down and load those at the wood crashing into it. So you have a lot of adjustment with this machine, and that's the big thing that we try to tell guys. But we've tried to build this machine so it's very versatile, user-friendly, and it's rugged. You can see how thick all the steel is here.
Oh yeah.
We try to build them really heavy. This machine here weighs right around 16,000 pounds, which is about 2 tons heavier than any other competitor's bar saw right now.
Isn't that something? And I see it's got the classic dump here in case you've got some bad wood and you just want to spit it out.
Yeah, it does. So this dump tray or this eject table will actually come out of the way, and the wood will roll out of the machine and into a pile here. A lot of guys will end up putting a grapple bucket or a bucket here to pick up the wood when it falls out, and that's great for those little cookies. So a firewood producer doesn't have those going up into his pile, into his finished product. Yeah. So you can see, Gord, this is the same splitter beam as our 2228. All the wear components will interchange with them. It still has a brass on each side of it. The log trough itself has a set of rollers in it to turn the wood so you can keep the knot up and you can position the wood a lot more favorably. The live deck is all hydraulically powered.
Nice.
There's 4 strands on it, Gord. So the way that this is set up is the first 2 strands are a little less than 4 feet. They're about 46 inches. And then between the first strand and the third strand is a little less than 8 feet. So it's around 92 inches. So if you're running 4-foot wood, 6-foot wood, or 8-foot wood, you'll use the first 3 strands. After that, going to the next strand between the front strand and the back strand is right around 14 feet. So if you're running 16-foot logs, it fits on there comfortably. You can go up to about 30 feet on this machine too. You can put a long log on it.
Wow.
The trough itself 17, and then you can have a little bit more hanging over the end of it, especially if you have the butt flare on this end of it. It's all hydraulic up and down, Gord. All the legs are adjustable on it. Everything is greasable on it. There's bearings on the idler rollers on this end of it here, which are really nice. They're integrated right into the sprocket, so they're not a separate bearing. They're pressed into the sprocket itself, so it's a lot more durable and a lot more rugged. There's a lot of adjustment there. When your chain does stretch, you're able to adjust it and tighten them up again.
We got down this end, Andrew.
This end of it here, we have this in-feed chain, which is pretty exclusive to us. You can see how aggressive and how heavy that chain is. We have a really aggressive tooth on, and then the chain is actually 81x heavy. So it's a lot heavier than typical firewood processor chain on it. So any of that wood that has a crook or a knob in it, it's gonna drag it in really well, really efficiently. They work great. The other really nice thing about this machine too, Gord, is it has a 250 liter fuel tank on it. This machine here will run about 3 days on a full tank of fuel, which is incredible. A lot of these machines will have a smaller fuel tank on them that you'd be filling up every 6 or 7 hours, especially for somebody that's setting up in a yard. You can leave this thing set up without having to move it several times throughout the week. You can pretty well fill it up, or if you had a service truck, you come over and fill it too.
Well, this isn't any 14 horsepower engine now, is it?
No, that's not a Vanguard, that one. That's a Kubota. It's a 74 horsepower Kubota. These are really, really nice running engine. This is actually the last 74 horsepower Kubota we can get our hands on. So the nice thing about that is the guys that have machines on order right now that are 22 MBs are getting a 115 horsepower engine now. So
wow.
Orders going forward will perform significantly better than these. We've tested one at the shop, and the cut time is almost half.
Wow.
So they're performing really, really well now. And the other really nice thing about this machine is it has piston pumps on it. These are really common on excavators and skid steers. It's something fairly new for firewood processors. There's only a handful of manufacturers that are running these pumps. The nice thing about them is you can run them at incredibly high pressures compared to gear pumps, and they don't create near as much heat as a traditional gear pump. We're only running 2 pumps on this, where a lot of the times you'll see 3 or 4 gear pumps stacked together, so you're always moving oil with it, creating a lot of heat. So this is a really, really nice setup.
Nice.
The oil cooler in the back of it too is also really nice because it's a variable displacement fan on it. So as the temperature warms up, the fan will blow harder and harder and harder. So the machine warms up quickly and maintains the temperature a lot better.
That's great. Wow.
And you can see the size of the hydraulic tank, and that goes back to oil temperature too, right? That for a hydraulically powered machine, a hydraulically driven machine, heat is the killer, and it keeps fresh oil in it. So it's 80 gallons in this, and it's all has a 10 micron filter in it too, and it's all tank top mounted. It's a very clean setup compared to what we had before on the Bell's machines.
And I noticed that's a mighty big saw bar.
That is an awfully big saw. It'll cut 22 inches, and it's a 404 harvester chain, the same as what you'd see on a harvester head in the forest. The other nice thing about this saw too is it's all pressure compensated. So as the bar or the chain gets duller, it'll actually feed less hard. So it's really a sophisticated system in terms of a firewood processor. There's lots of processors on the market where you're constantly adjusting the control for how fast the saw comes into the wood and how much pressure it feeds, where this system here does it all automatically.
That's pretty impressive. I'd never even heard of that before.
It works incredible, especially if you're into dirty wood. It'll self-adjust for you, and it performs incredibly well.
And this is where all the magic happens, the captain's chair.
Yeah, we're up in the captain's chair now, Gord. This machine here is a 22 MB, so it'll take a 22-inch diameter log, and then it has manual controls on it. Our other bigger machines are all electric over hydraulic, where this has the manual controls on it. Every control on the machine is run right here from the operator's seat. You have your splitter forward and reverse. Yeah. This will run your conveyor forward, and it's a friction detent in reverse. So you can see, you can actually adjust the speed of the conveyor right from the operator station, depending on how far ahead or back you move that control.
That's a really nice option.
The tip tray up and down is right here. It's up and down. Your rollers inside your log trough are forward and reverse.
Gotcha.
This is your live deck forward and reverse. This will lift your live deck up and down. In-feed forward and reverse.
Gotcha.
Saw up and down.
Yep.
That is your conveyor lift up and down.
Okay. Your
log eject and your wedge up and down. So everything that you would run is right here at your fingertips.
And in true Easton-made fashion, I'll bet you it's got a hydraulic wedge.
It does have the hydraulic wedge up and down, and it's really nice. There's about 10 inches of adjustment there, so you can center it on most pieces. Right now we are running the 4-way wedge because we're doing the Woodford Guys outdoor boiler. We offer 4-way, 6-way, 8-way, 12-way, and even a 16-way for this particular machine, depending on the user's application.
There's one thing you still haven't shown me.
Well, what do you want to see?
I want to see it work, buddy.
Well, let's get her fired up and get some wood coming at the back of it here.
All right, let's grab the tractors and let's rock.